You know what's weird? People spend years trying to improve their lives while dragging around things that are actively making them worse. It's like trying to run a marathon with a backpack full of bricks, then watching videos about better running shoes. Wrong problem. Everyone asks, what should I add to my life? More books, more habits, more supplements, more productivity apps with names that sound like startup companies run from someone's garage. Almost nobody asks the more useful question. What should I get rid of? Because improvement isn't always about building. Sometimes it's demolition. Imagine buying a beautiful house but refusing to throw away decades of garbage inside it. Sure, the house has potential, you just can't find the kitchen. Your mind works the same way. A surprising amount of stress, anxiety, and exhaustion doesn't come from missing something. It comes from carrying things that should have been left behind years ago. And the worst part? Most of these things don't even look dangerous. They're socially acceptable, completely normal. Some are even encouraged, which makes them much harder to notice. So let's start with the first thing you need to quietly eliminate: the constant need to be liked. Now, this sounds obvious. Everyone says they don't care what people think. Then they spend 20 minutes rewriting a 2-line text message. Hey, delete. Hey, delete. Hey, ha ha ha, delete. Congratulations. You've turned saying hello into a hostage negotiation. Humans evolved to care about social acceptance. Thousands of years ago, getting kicked out of your tribe was basically a death sentence. No tribe, no food, no protection, no survival. Your brain hasn't completely updated its software since then. It still treats mild social awkwardness like you're about to be abandoned in the wilderness. Except now, the tribe is Karen from accounting, who didn't react with a laughing emoji. You'll recover. The problem starts when being liked becomes your decision-making system. You don't choose what's right. You choose what gets the fewest uncomfortable reactions. That's how people slowly become background characters in their own lives. Think about restaurants. If the chef asked every customer exactly how salty they wanted the soup, how spicy it should be, and whether tomatoes are emotionally offensive, nobody would ever get their food. Trying to satisfy everyone creates something nobody actually enjoys. The same thing happens to your personality. The more you edit yourself for everyone else, the less interesting you become to anyone. Ironically, people usually respect clear opinions far more than endless agreement. Not because they always agree with them, because confidence is easier to trust than constant approval seeking. Here's a simple test. If someone disagrees with you, does your first instinct become explaining yourself for 5 straight minutes? Or can you survive someone thinking you're wrong? Because those are very different skill levels. The second habit to eliminate is keeping people around simply because you've known them for a long time. Time is one of the worst reasons to keep anything. Imagine telling someone, I've been wearing these shoes for 12 years. Do they still fit? No. Are they comfortable? Absolutely not. So why keep wearing them? Well, I've already had them for 12 years. Nobody would think that's logical, yet people do exactly this with friendships. Length gets confused with quality. Just because someone has occupied space in your life doesn't mean they deserve permanent residency. Some friendships grow, others expire. That's normal. People change jobs, cities, interests, goals. Some people become healthier, others become professional victims. You know the type. Every conversation somehow becomes an Olympic event in explaining why nothing is ever their fault. Traffic, boss, parents, weather. Mercury being in retrograde. At some point you'd think gravity personally insulted them. Negativity is strangely contagious, not because people convince you with logic, because your brain mirrors emotional states incredibly well. Spend enough time around someone who complains about everything, and eventually you'll find yourself getting annoyed at perfectly functional elevators. You don't notice it happening. It happens slowly. Like your phone battery dropping from 100% to 12, you never actually see it happen. You just suddenly wonder where all your energy went. This doesn't mean cutting everyone off the second they have a bad week. Life happens. Everyone struggles. That's different. The real question is simple. After spending time with someone, do you usually leave feeling lighter or heavier? Because emotions spread faster than opinions, and your environment quietly shapes your personality whether you notice it or not. The third thing you need to eliminate is unnecessary mental clutter. Modern humans consume information the way toddlers eat candy, without asking whether any of it is actually good for them. Open your phone for 5 minutes, a billionaire's morning routine, a celebrity breakup, someone arguing with strangers in a comment section over pineapple on pizza, a video explaining why drinking water is secretly ruining civilization. Your brain processes all of it. Not because it's important, because it can't instantly separate useful from useless. Imagine hiring 500 people to shout random facts into your office while you're trying to finish your taxes. Technically, some information might be valuable. Practically, you're getting absolutely nothing done. That's what most people's minds feel like all day. Constant noise, constant updates, constant stimulation, and then they wonder why they can't think clearly. Your brain isn't broken. It's crowded. There's a reason the best ideas rarely appear while you're refreshing social media for the 18th time. They appear in the shower, walking, driving, washing dishes, moments when your brain finally gets enough silence to connect ideas instead of collecting more. People are terrified of boredom, which is funny, because boredom is often where creativity starts warming up. The moment there's nothing demanding your attention, your brain finally begins doing what it's unbelievably good at. Thinking. Real thinking. Not reacting, not consuming, not scrolling, actually thinking. And that's becoming surprisingly rare. The fourth habit you need to eliminate is waiting to feel motivated. This one is incredibly sneaky because it sounds reasonable. I'll start when I feel ready. Sounds responsible. It isn't. Imagine only showering when you felt inspired, or only paying your rent when the mood was right. Somehow we understand that certain things simply need to be done until it comes to the things that would actually improve our lives. Then, suddenly motivation becomes a legal requirement. Here's the problem. Your brain is designed to save energy. It doesn't care about your dream physique or business idea. It cares about survival. And from your brain's perspective, sitting on the couch is a fantastic survival strategy. Low risk, low effort, no lions involved. This is why action usually creates motivation, not the other way around. Think about pushing a shopping cart with a stuck wheel. The first few seconds are annoying. Then it starts rolling. Your brain works the same way. The hardest part is almost always starting. After that, continuing feels surprisingly normal. People assume disciplined people wake up excited to work every day. They don't. They've just stopped negotiating with themselves. The average person has more meetings with themselves than actual coworkers. Should I go? Maybe later. What if I start tomorrow? By the time the meeting ends, Netflix has already started the next episode. The fifth and final habit you need to eliminate is carrying your past everywhere you go. People collect old mistakes like their limited edition trading cards. Remember that embarrassing thing you said 3 years ago? Your brain remembers it in 4K. Everyone else remembers what they had for lunch. Humans suffer from something psychologists call the spotlight effect. We massively overestimate how much other people think about us. The truth? Most people are too busy worrying about themselves. You're not the main character in their story. You're an extra who walked through one scene. Think about yesterday. Can you remember every awkward thing every stranger did? Probably not. Someone almost tripped. Someone dropped their phone. Someone waved back at a person who wasn't waving at them. Gone. Your brain deleted those memories before dinner. Yet we somehow believe our own awkward moments become permanent public records. They don't. Your past should function like a GPS. Its job is to tell you where you went wrong, not to keep driving you back there. Imagine your navigation saying, "You missed a turn 20 minutes ago." Yes, I know. Can we continue now? Instead, it just repeats the mistake forever. That would be useless. Unfortunately, that's exactly how many people talk to themselves. Every failure becomes an identity instead of information. I failed slowly turns into I am a failure. Those are completely different sentences. One describes an event, the other builds a prison. And here's what's interesting. All 5 habits we've talked about quietly support each other. If you're desperate for approval, you'll tolerate the wrong people. The wrong people create unnecessary mental noise. That noise makes everything feel overwhelming. So you wait for motivation. Then, when nothing changes, you blame yourself and replay the past. It's one giant feedback loop. But here's the good news. You don't have to fix everything. Break one link in the chain. Distance yourself from one toxic person. Delete one unnecessary distraction. Stop asking one person for validation. Take one action before you feel like it. Small changes don't stay small for very long. People think changing your life requires adding more. More habits, more routines, more apps, more morning rituals involving ice baths and waking up at 4:37 because apparently 4:38 is for amateurs. Sometimes the biggest upgrade comes from subtraction. Your phone doesn't become faster because you install more apps. It becomes faster after deleting the ones draining the battery. Your life works the same way. So before asking what you should add next, ask yourself something much simpler. What have you been carrying that should have been left behind a long time ago?